hi guys. So today our goal is to understand quantities and their relationships and be able to identify independent versus dependent quantities when given a problem situation. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go over a few problems and those two definitions, and then the rest of it will be up to you. And I want you to remember that it's your responsibility to ask questions if you don't understand, okay? So make sure you do that. If you don't understand, ask me a question. So let's get started. Understanding quantities and their relationships. Independent quantity, that definition is the quantity that the dependent quantity, depends on. When you write these definitions, I want you to think about what the words actually mean. Don't just copy it down without thinking, because when you do that, you're not going to understand anything. So I need you to think about what these words actually mean in this sentence, okay? All right, let's go on to dependent quantities. Think about what these words mean, okay? Dependent quantity is a quantity that depends on another in the problem situation. So when we give you a problem situation, there's going to be an independent quantity that's independent, and then you have the dependent quantity, which relies on the independent quantity. So you're going to see that when we get onto these two examples below. All right, so before we do the examples, we have to read the instructions. So let's do that together. Determine the independent and dependent quantities in each scenario. Be sure to include the appropriate units of measure for each quantity. So we need to say which is which and also do units, okay? Don't forget the units. Units are very important. Number 1, Grayson completes a dive from a cliff 75 feet above a river. It takes him only 1.5 seconds to hit the water and then another 0.5 seconds to descend 10 feet into the river. So when you're identifying quantities, one little trick that I like to use is to look at the units first, the units that are attached to the numbers. So 75 is a number over here. 75 what? 75 feet. 1.5 is another number. 1.5 what? 1.5 seconds. And then here, another number, 0.5 seconds. And then another number, 10 feet. So there's two words that jump out at me. Seconds and feet. Those are going to be your units. Let me write the units first. Seconds and feet. Okay, so seconds. What does seconds measure? There's only one thing that I can think of that seconds measures. Seconds measures time. So whenever you have time in a situation, time always is the independent quantity. So time is your independent quantity because time does not wait for you, time does not wait for me, time doesn't depend on anything. No person in the world can control time. Time is completely independent. It happens whether we like it or not. Time is always the independent quantity in situations. And we already identified the unit for time, which was seconds. Okay? Anytime you see time, independent, automatically, I will be slightly disappointed, very disappointed, if you put time in the dependent quantity, okay? I am telling you now, time is always independent. All right, next, feet. Feet is our other units. What do you think feet describes? Is that feet between my house and your house? Feet between, I don't know, these two chairs that I'm sitting on, the one that's next to me and the one I'm sitting on? No, it's feet describing his height. Grayson is diving off of a cliff, so his height is measured in feet. So height is going to be the dependent quantity. And we said the units was feet. All right, so the height depends on the time. That's what this definition, let me highlight the definition. That's what this definition means. If we say height is the dependent quantity, which is what we are saying, then height is the quantity that depends on time. Height depends on time because his height in the air depends on how long he's been falling. So height depends on time. All right, so that's it for number 1. Let's go on to number 2. Let's read our situation. Candace is a building manager for the Crowley Enterprise office building. One of her responsibilities is cleaning the office building's 200-gallon aquarium. For cleaning, she must remove the fish from the aquarium and drain the water. The water drains at a constant rate of 10 gallons per minute. So once again, the trick is to look for the units that are attached to the numbers. Let's take a look. First number I see is 200. 200 what? 200 gallons. Then the next number I see is 10. 10 what? 10 gallons per minute. What are the 2 words that jump out at you here? Okay, so I see gallons. I'm just going to underline them because I don't have space. So I see gallons is one of the words, and then minute is the other word. So right now in class, I'm going to pause the video so that you guys can figure out what these units are talking about. What are the quantities that these units are describing? Okay, so now I've unpaused the video. The unit for, let's talk about minute. Minute, what does minute describe? Minute describes time, and time is always independent. Time. And this time, our time is measured in minutes, not seconds. Okay, and then the other word that jumped out was gallons. What does gallons describe? Gallons describes the water in the tank. All right, and the units are gallons. Oops, there we go. Okay, and so for number 3, 4, and I believe 5, 6, I'm going to leave that up to you guys to do. And remember, it's your responsibility to ask me if you have any questions, okay?